Hi guys, so welcome to pasta part 2. This is where we're actually going to do the fun bit, which is to roll out the pasta into nice flat piece of pasta so we can cut it up into tagliatelle. And as yesterday, I made the dough. Here's the dough, it was in the fridge. I've taken it out, and just so you know, we used 500 grams of semolina flour. This one, it's basically durum wheat. In the UK, you can probably buy in Waitrose, if you can get there, their pasta flour is a good alternative. I have done this with ordinary bread flour, which was Tenero 00, but it's better with the semolina flour. Initially, I started doing it with a 50-50 mixture. Then I found this recipe, and actually it was on the packet. 500 grams of semolina, fine durum wheat flour, 3 medium-sized eggs, 100 grams of water, tepid, and a little bit of salt. For those of you who are thinking of sizes, that makes about 750 grams of weight of pasta dough. And normally, if you think about pasta sizes, you do 125 grams of dried pasta per person. With the fresh pasta, it comes out a little bit bigger, so probably 100 grams per person is fine. I've decided that as Zara doesn't eat as much as me, that we cut this into 4 quarters, and that's plenty. Invariably we cook too much pasta, so that'll be fine. Okay, so what do you need next? Well, you need one of these, a rolling pin. However, I've done this with other things, shorter rolling pins, for example. This is quite a long one, it's a pasta one. And I even made do with a bottle once when a friend came to visit, so just improvise. This is a pasta board. Yes, it's a proper pasta board, but you don't need it. I've done it on a table in a friend's kitchen in London. I did it with a standard rolling pin on their work surface. Okay, so what do you do first? Well, the first thing you do is take some of your flour and sprinkle it on the board. The main purpose of this, of course, is to make sure it doesn't fit. Then take your pasta, start to work it a little bit. As you can see, all I'm doing is making it into a slightly thinner piece of pasta, and then after that I'm going to start using the rolling pin. And there's a technique I want you to see, which I learned from a YouTube video with somebody speaking in Italian. The reason I'm showing you this, as you're probably asking, why aren't you using a pasta machine? Well, that's because I can do that, and I have one, and that's actually easier. It also gives you regular strips of pasta, but if you don't have one, which might be you in the lockdown, then this is the way you can do it. Okay, so there we are. We're going to start making it into a thinner piece of pasta. Give ourselves some room. Take our rolling pin. Now, next thing we're going to do, of course, is make sure the rolling pin doesn't stick. So put a bit of flour on there and just start rolling. I'm going to get rid of him as well. Those of you that have made pastry, it's the same idea. Those of you that haven't, even pressure is important. Notice how I'm moving the hands up and down the rolling pin. And I keep switching the piece of dough around so that the spread is more even. And after a while I'll switch it round and turn it the other way over. Okay, I think that'll do now. I'll keep going. You're thinking this is going to be very thick pasta. Well, just wait and see. The other thing to do is bear in mind that the pasta dough will probably take more flour, so only use what you need. What I found with the semolina flour is that it doesn't seem to absorb into the pasta as much, and so you get a much nicer pasta. It's a lighter pasta. You never get any of that sort of gooiness that you get with cheap pastas you can buy. And we're soon going to get to the point where the technique I was telling you about is going to come into play to get yourself that nice, really thin pasta. More flour, just a sprinkle, like so. Turn them over, like so. And then for the fun bit, so what we do is we take the pasta and we just roll it over itself like that. And then we start to roll, pushing down in the middle, spreading your hands as you go. Not too much, or you'll create too much pressure. And then just keep doing it. And eventually, you'll end up with a much larger piece of pasta. Very thin, almost see-through if you really want. And it's actually much easier than it looks, funnily. And you can cut anything you want out of this. You can make, I suppose you can make the strips for a lasagna. And you notice how it's sticking a bit there? That's because I need some more flour. Okay, so I'm glad you've seen that, because it will happen to one of you at some point or the other. You can see if it sticks, it creates sort of an anomaly in the middle. Not a big problem, just spread it out. Add some more flour. You can see it's been a while since I've done this. I normally use the pasta machine these days because I found a YouTube video called Pasta Nonnas, and you know what? If it's good enough for pasta nonnas, it's good enough for me. Nonna, by the way, in Italian means grandma, and of course they know what they're doing. Listen to your grandma, wash your hands, all that sort of thing. Okay, you can see it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Oh, now there is something important to think about here. When we made the dough yesterday, do you remember I said that you needed to rest it in the fridge? That's quite important, because if you try and work it straight away, it's a bit more tricky. The other secret I'm going to tell you now is that although when I cut this you can boil it immediately, I would recommend you leave this piece of pasta for about half an hour. And the reason for that is that it dries out a little bit and it makes it easier to work with, and it won't stick together. Otherwise you have to be loading it with a lot of flour so that it doesn't stick together in the pan. Now you can see there I've got that as thin as I can. I'm not an expert at this, but there it is, nice and thin. So what do you do next? Well, you basically decide, do I want long pieces or short pieces? I'm going to go for the shorter piece. So I fold it to the middle, fold back to the middle, fold into the middle again, fold into the middle again like so, fold it over on itself, take yourself your knife, and we just start cutting. You can cut any width you want. I've just made some tagliatelle, or I can make some papa pomodoro, also some pappardelle. You can see, nice and thick. There we are. Or whatever you feel like. And that's it. So that's really how we do the pasta. And thank you very much for joining.